By now, you've probably seen me talk about my signature personal mythwork sessions, and I wouldn't blame you if your first thought was, okay, but what is that? So today I'm going to tell you what personal mythwork is and the 3 signs you might need to develop yours. Personal mythwork would be best described as the act of taking your past, your life history, and reframing it with a mythic structure. So looking at your life and instead of saying that this happened to me back then, reframing it like you would tell a story with a hero. So the hero's story starts and this is how his everyday life is, and then there's a turning point and this thing happens. And this kind of mindset when it comes to telling your own story helps you get out of that habit of thinking that just because things have happened one way in the past, that they need to happen the same way in the future, or that they're doomed to happen the same way in the future. Personal mythwork really encourages a stronger sense of personal power and personal identity, and a sense of direction, of purpose. It's easier for you to reconnect to what you want and believing that what you want is valuable. So the first sign of needing personal mythwork is feeling kind of rudderless, or feeling like you've been disconnected with your purpose, or that you just don't even feel like you have one. And very often this is a result of growing up in an environment or ending up in a relationship where you're told what you want. When you're told this is what you're going to do, this is what you're going to be, this is what success is. And so you end up putting a lot of your energy toward this path that someone else has kind of thrust you upon, but it's not something that you feel in alignment with. And it can actually be very disorienting and make you feel like your life in and of itself doesn't have a purpose just because you're not on the right path. And so it's really important to reconnect yourself with what it is that you wanted to do before anybody told you what you should do. And personal mythwork is integral to this. It's that journey of going back and really connecting to the genuine identity of yourself, untainted by anyone else. Second sign you might need to do some personal myth work is if your personality has been greatly impressed upon by someone else. So this could be if you had a narcissistic parent, if you had a codependent relationship, or if it was just a long relationship and you found that your personality had kind of become enmeshed with that other person's personality, and you need to return to yourself and your own identity and kind of reconnecting with what is it that I want, why it matters that I get what I want, and understanding and reprogramming yourself to understand that you're worthy of love. As much as people in those situations may have been telling you that you're difficult to love or you have negative traits, you can't do anything, personal myth work is not just for retelling your story to yourself, it's also for recrafting your view of yourself and really putting yourself into the hero position in your life. And finally, the third sign you might need to do some personal myth work, self-sabotage. If you have a history of self-sabotaging yourself, or you just can't seem to get out of your own way, personal myth work is really good for this, because by telling your story, you can more easily identify your shadow self and which subconscious shadows in your life are impacting your decisions, are getting in your own way, are making you think that, oh, because I've always done it this way, I can't break this cycle. Because like I said earlier, that's not true. Stories don't have that pattern and that shape. That's a curse. You're not cursed. Stop cursing yourself. So personal myth work can really help you identify what that shadow is. And I know shadow sounds like such a scary word, but whether you identify what it is or not, it's still gonna be there. So it's better that you identify it. So when these things come up and you find your gut reaction to act in the way that you've done in the past, you're like, this is my shadow self. I know what the trigger is, why I wanna do this thing, and I know how to back myself out of it and reconnect to myself and not have that knee-jerk self-sabotaging reaction. So if you feel like any of these signs resonated with you and you're wondering, okay, that's me, what do I do next? You have a few options. So I have 3 signature personal myth work readings. The first one is called the Compass Rose. So if you identified with the first sign that you need personal myth work, and that's that lacking a sense of purpose or a sense of direction, the Compass Rose is designed to help you find where you are and find out which direction you need to be going in. If you identified with the second sign that you need personal myth work, then I would recommend my Warm Your Bones reading, where we basically get into reigniting that personal spark of yours and helping you get back into your true and authentic self and reconnecting to your own identity after spending so much time in the shadow of somebody else's. And if you identified with the third sign, so that history of self-sabotage, you really want to break those patterns, I would recommend my Into the Shadow, Out of the Dark reading, where we do a deep dive into your potential shadow and the ways that you can integrate that shadow into your life so that you're aware of it and you can move forward with it. Just to bring more awareness into your life so that you can stop sabotaging yourself and you don't know why.